Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Friday to everybody. So we're officially halfway through the college football regular season, and it is clearly time for a reminder, time to refresh some of your memories about who runs college football over the past almost decade. Now, the easy answer to that would be, well, Pete. Alabama runs college football the last decade. I agree. Second on that list, for anybody who forgot, is the Clemson Tigers. Now, I realize that a lot of your teams are new to the party. Georgia, Miami, Michigan. Well, I don't think they've ever been in the party. Never mind. Forget Michigan. That's not a good one. Texas. Who else? Who else am I thinking of here? Oh yeah. Notre Dame. Ohio State's not new to the party. Obviously, Oklahoma's not new to the party. I guess that's really it. If anybody who actually has a shot this year. Don't tell me LSU. Stop it with that. Yeah, I'm putting you right in the same category with Michigan. Anyway, to much of your surprise, I'm not going to use the time on this video to bash Big Ten fans, even though they deserve a bashing. Big 12 fans, Pac-12 fans, even SEC fans, surprisingly enough, even though you deserve a lot of it too. I'm going to spend the time on this video bashing who really deserves to be bashed. ACC fans. I've spent the past year, or 363 days to be exact, on YouTube, defending the ACC, defending my Clemson Tigers, which I will continue to do till the day I die, for good reason. But the ACC fans seem to be the worst in criticizing Pigskin Pete. Talk about friendly fire. Well, I'm about to fire back. Now, if you just look at the record, which I've said over and over and over again for the past half of decade, the ACC has been, at the very least, the second best and most successful conference in all of the Power 5 football. Just look it up. It's not my opinion. It's a fact. You can go back and watch 50 videos that I've made stating the facts here. All I get is pushback from other ACC fans. All Clemson gets is pushback from other ACC coaches. All Dabo Swinney does is defend all you other inferior jokes of head football coaches throughout the ACC. And all you do is stab him in the back. Let's start with Larry Fedora. First of all, before the season starts, Larry Fedora goes running around the country talking to the media like a half-wit, talking about CTE's not real, football's under attack. No, sir, I even defended you in your statements. No, North Carolina football is not under attack. North Carolina football is no good. They've never been any good. You're a basketball school. This clown has the nerve to come out and say what Clemson is doing in recruiting is unfair. Unfair. You know what, sir? You might be right. It is unfair. It's unfair that your school cannot recruit the same players we can because nobody wants to go to North Carolina to play football. That would be the same as Clemson's basketball coach coming out and saying that the North Carolina basketball recruiting program is unfair to us. Yeah, it's unfair. You're right. It's unfair that football players in the Southeast actually want to go somewhere and win football games. I mean, Larry Fedora, this guy's a joke. A joke. Let's see here. Who's next on the list? Dave Dorian from NC State. These jokers are already flapping their gums, yapping their trap. Still a week away from the football game. Dave Dorian last year, at the press conference after Clemson beats them in NC State, comes out and says, I think we need to launch an NCAA investigation into Clemson cheating because they had a kid with a laptop on the sideline. Dave Dorian. Oh, turns out this kid was a social media poster. You know, a student who posts on Facebook and Twitter during the games. This guy's blaming their loss on a social media poster. Oh, Dave Dorian. I got news for you, sir. NC State is the South Carolina Gamecocks of North Carolina. You know, a joke, an embarrassment. Yeah, you'll get, you know, just like, you know, you get one or two good players, Jadeveon Clowney, you know, Marcus Lattimore, you know, these guys that come through NC State. And you've got one, you know, had one last year, Bradley Chubb. Now you've got a good quarterback in Ryan Finley. You know, you get one or two good players. That's not the same as winning on a consistent basis. Nobody takes NC State seriously as a football program. Yeah, they can beat you, but let's be real here. NC State's no good. And now, this week, this joker from Wake Forest University, Dave Clawson. Did you hear what this guy said? After we beat Wake Forest in their own place, 63-3. Dave Clawson complaining to the ACC that Clemson's band was too loud. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, folks, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. So he says, Clemson's band, when we went to Wake Forest last week, was so loud that they couldn't get their play calls in. I thought this was a joke when I first heard it, but no, he's being serious. Now listen, I realize if you're a Wake Forest fan, that high school stadium that holds, what, 25,000 people? 30,000, I don't know. That you never heard that much noise in your life until Clemson's fan base came up there and took over that stadium. There was more Clemson fans in that stadium than there was Wake Forest fans. Which is probably not any shock to anybody like myself. But welcome to Clemson's world, sir. That's every single Saturday in Death Valley, Clemson. It gets loud in there. You can't hear things, even when you're the home team. Does anybody think that if Clemson's band wasn't so loud, that Wake Forest had a chance in hell to beat the Tigers? I mean, do these guys think before they say stupid shit like this? I mean, I can't even believe that they would even come out and say this stuff. Yeah. If it weren't for Clemson's band, Wake Forest would be worth a crap. Oh, okay, so next on the list. Now, this one's not directed at the coach of this team. It's more directed at their fan base, and you all know who you are. You are on this channel, a couple of you. Syracuse Syracuse, the Orangemen, the Fruits. Syracuse started thinking they were good, weren't they? These guys beat Clemson last year. Knocked out Kelly Bryant, second quarter. Beat Clemson. This year, they come into Death Valley, knock out our true freshman quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, take us down to the wire. These guys start thinking they're good. Hell, I even heard this one guy call into the radio station who's a Syracuse fan and say, yeah, Clemson, they have better talent than Syracuse does, but we are just as good as they are in coaching. Hey, let me tell you something. So last year, when Clemson lost to Syracuse in Syracuse, what did Dabo Swinney do after the game? He went into the Syracuse locker room and congratulated their players. These players were taking pictures with him. I mean, they were posting it on Instagram and Facebook with their arms around them, smiling. Hey, I got news for you. Dabo Swinney was trolling you. He did the ultimate troll job. Have you ever heard of Dabo Swinney going into the locker room, the visiting locker room of a team that beat him, and taking pictures and giving motivational speakers to the players? He trolled you. He trolled you. And you thought it was great. If the coaching was as good at Syracuse as it is at Clemson, then they wouldn't be coaching at Syracuse, now would they? Dabo Swinney is the coach killer. Starting out with Al Golden. Goes down there, beats them by 60 points. Guy gets fired the next day. Jimbo Fisher realizes he's way outmatched in that division and in that conference. Can't beat Clemson. He's out the door. Who else we got here? Oh, yeah. Bob Stoops at Oklahoma. Bob Stoops faces Clemson twice. Once in an Orange Bowl and the other one in another Orange Bowl for a playoff spot in a playoff game, Beats them up, breaks off them both times. Bob Stoops quits. Let's see, Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier beats Clemson 5 times in a row. Deshaun Watson walks through the door. Steve Spurrier's looking around going, I can't win nothing at South Carolina. I can't even win my own division. I can't win the SEC. The only thing I could ever hang my hat on to still be a legend in the state of South Carolina is beating Clemson. That's not happening in the near future. I'm leaving too. He hauls ass. The next day, he's on the board at the University of Florida, the only school he ever cared about. Les Miles gets beat by Clemson in the Chick-fil-A Bowl, the Peach Bowl, whatever you want to call it. That was the beginning of the end for him. He's gone. Urban Meyer, 0-2 against Dabo Swinney. The only coach in the FBS, a current coach that has a winning record against Dabo Swinney, is the all-great Nick Saban. And we all know the writing's on the wall for the Gamecock fans. He will be the reason that Will Muschamp ends up getting fired, whether it's this year or 5 years from now, from the University of South Carolina, because he can't beat Dabo Swinney. And what do you get? Everybody hates him for it. Dabo Swinney and these Clemson Tigers have single-handedly dismantled and destroyed the ACC conference. Like I said before, the ACC, both national title-wise, playoff-wise, overall record-wise, non-conference-wise, has been the second best conference in the country behind the ACC for the past half decade. And that's all about to come to an end because Dabo is making sure that the ACC is Clemson and only Clemson. Miami, you're next. I realize everyone hates Clemson, and the reason they hate him is because we're destroying your football programs. And I'm just going to leave it at this. In the words of the great Dabo Swinney, the best is yet to come. Go Tigers.